Namaste, welcome to the Festival of Bharat. My name is Abhishek and I'll be your host today. Today, I am joined by Sri Shivachariyar, the Director of Religious Affairs at the Hindu Temple Society of North America. Today, he's going to be talking about the Kumbhabhishekam that is going to be taking place at the Ganesh Temple. So, without further ado, here is Sri Shivachariyar. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for joining me today. How are you doing?
Yeah, fine. With the grace of Lord Shiva.
Wonderful. So, since we're here today, the first thing I want to talk about is since the Ganesh Temple is the oldest temple in North America and has been a huge part of the Hindu American community. So, can we speak a little bit about the history of Hindus in this country?
Sure. Yes, you rightly said the Hindu Temple Society of North America or the Mahavallabha Ganapati Devasthanam in the New
Mm-hmm.
York City, which is popularly known as Ganesh Temple,
Mm-hmm.
and is the oldest in North America. And I have to say about the history, if you wanted, about the history of Hindus in this country, in the United States. To my knowledge, I should say it exists since the time of Srimad Ramayana.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I could trace out the Hindus' presence in this country. I heard this Ramayana, the one of the epic, great epic, which describes the Ravana was the first to land in this country, okay,
Oh.
by flight during the exploration of Himalayas and from the land of Sri Lanka. Of course, all of us know who is Ravana, who is a kingdom in Sri Lanka, and he why did he fly here? Is actually he want to reach the abode of Himalayas to have darshan of Lord Shiva in Himalayas. So he
Mm-hmm.
took a flight, but he want to go around the world and then do it. So he landed up, and he is the one who named this country as Amaresha.
Oh.
He named the country as Amaresha, which is later known as Amarekha. If
Oh,
you heard
wow.
about the uh, um, America's word, it was actually originally it was Amaresha,
Uh-huh.
which then came to be known as America. Now it is America.
Oh, wow. Very
Okay,
interesting.
and that is one thing. If you look at the Native Americans,
Mm-hmm.
they have a lot of similarities with Hindu faith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, of course, if I had to go back to even Skanda Purana, which is beyond, which is earlier to Ramayana period, you will find there is a story between Parvati and Shiva with Ganesha and Kartikeya.
Uh-huh.
So Lord Shiva wanted to offer a fruit, a mango fruit, and that should not be cut into equal. So he gave a task to both Ganesha and Kartikeya, and Kartikeya, the task is to who goes around the earth
Mm-hmm.
first will be given this. If you see the story,
Right.
and Ganesha went around their parents and then said, "Yes, I went around the world," whereas uh, Lord Kartikeya, he went around in the Mayura or the peacock as a Vahana and went
Mhm.
around the world. Okay, and so he was the first to go around, but actually the one who landed here is Ravana, as per our story.
Okay.
Okay, so that's about this. Of course, now as per the known history, recorded
Mhm.
history, we know Swami Vivekananda's visit to Chicago. It's all
Right.
in the documented history of this country, and his effort, Swamiji's effort to spread the Hinduism in this part of country. And not only that, I also recently heard from some of the locals. I was still doing a lot of research and on this. There are several. I was given to understand there are several ancient siddhas or
Mhm.
siddhas.
Okay.
Okay, from India have traveled to various part of the world, including Americas, and specifically sage Agastya
Oh.
Muni, or sage the Taittiriya Rishis, and even Sakya Muni. I was given to understand they all landed up to this country also. They touched upon this country also.
Hmm.
So, of course, finally today, if you look at the censor data, which is still more documented thing, they say the Hindus are the third largest community or population wise in the USA.
Okay.
So we can talk about Hindus history in length.
No, thank you very much for that answer. That is very insightful. I don't think a lot of people knew about Ravana being one of the first ones coming here, so that's
In
very
fact,
interesting.
I should interrupt. Even before Columbus, so-called Columbus discovery, who did not even finally now it says the evidences says that he didn't landed up. He landed a little away from America, and he was
Hmm.
the one who was thought of discovering the America. But it is not so. It is Ravana.
Oh wow. Oh, wonderful. Thank you for that.
Okay.
So now let's talk a little bit about the history of the Ganesh Temple itself.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
when was the temple started, and what were some of the challenges that was faced at the time?
Okay. So the actual thought process,
Hmm.
okay, about this temple began 6 decades ago.
Okay.
Okay, and of course, the dream realized in early 70s, and finally, the temple opened up for public on 1977, July 4, which is an auspicious day for as per Hindu calendar.
Okay.
But coincidentally, this day also happened to be the Independence Day of
Hmm.
America of that year. Of course, of every year, and that
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
also it fell on that. So it was on 4th of July 1977. It opened up, even though the thought process started in early 60s.
Okay.
So that is one thing, and of course, you also asked what are the challenges we faced
Hmm.
during the coming up of this temple. We did face a lot of challenges. A lot of local people thought we are a cult.
Hmm.
Of course, we have to do a lot of awareness program, educate the communities, and then now our temple stands as a testimony for the complete religious harmony. So such is the this thing beginning of our temple in
Hmm.
the America.
Oh, that's wonderful. We're thankful for the sacrifices that were made. You know, it couldn't have been easy back then. So
Yes.
a lot of times we take it for granted that we have a place that we can go today. You know, so it's a thank you for that. So now the main reason we're here today is to speak about the Kumbhabhishekam. It's going to be taking place from August 31st to September 7th.
Yes. Yes.
So can you tell us what exactly is Kumbhabhishekam?
Yeah. For a layman understanding,
Mhm.
Kumbhabhishekam, I can say as consecration,
Okay.
which normal people can understand. And this Kumbhabhishekam is basically a very complex ritualistic process,
Hmm.
and through which the vital energy, okay, the vibration or the cosmic energy, or we call it as a divine energy, is infused in murtis.
Hmm.
A murti, what I mean is a deity, and not only infused on the deity or the murtis, also to the entire structure or the entire premises of the temple. And these deities or vigraha becomes an effective object of worship only when it is properly installed in a temple, and a temple becomes a fit place of worship only when it is duly consecrated. So consecration is very easy to understand vis-a-vis Kumbhabhishekam.
Hmm.
And the Agama text really deals elaborately about the procedures, the principles involved in installation and consecration of the temple and the murtis or the deities.
Hmm.
Of course, the consecration ritual is believed to also homogenize or synergize, and it unites all the mystic powers into this murti. And all the consecration process and its related ceremonies will enhance the presence of cosmic energy in the temple. When you enter into the temple, you will be able to feel it.
Hmm.
Some people call it as I felt the vibration, or I felt some energy, I
Hmm.
felt something different into the temple. So this process of creating such atmosphere is by the consecration process known as Kumbhabhishekam. And now what we are doing now is the fifth consecration since the inception of the temple.
Hmm.
And normally it is done once in 12 years.
Okay. So that actually takes me to the next question, which,
Mm.
since it's done every 12 years,
Mm.
the apparently the number 12 has some significance in Sanatana Dharma. So
Yes.
can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. You see, every numerical value in arithmetic is
Hmm.
very, very important, and every number has several significances.
Okay.
Of course, numeral 12s also.
Hmm.
Okay. So, if I give you example, if you see the Rashis, you know what is Rashi is the zodiac sign?
Uh-huh, yes.
The number of zodiac sign is only 12.
Mm.
It starts from Mesha, Rishabha, Mithuna, Kataka, Simha, Kanni or Kanya, Tula, Vrishchika, Dhanur, Makara, Kumbha, Meena. So there are 12 Rashis. Of course, these 12 Rashis are linked to the constellation of the nakshatra or the
Mm.
stars. And again, all this are viewed from the planet Earth. So there are 12 Rashis, uh, which is very significant looking at from the planet. So that is number 12. And of course, if you look at our calendar, we have 12
Mhm.
months
Yeah.
in a year. Okay. And not only that, our every day is a twice of 12 hours.
Ah,
We call as AM and PM.
right.
Yes, so there are two 12 hours, twin 12 hours. And of course, the Earth also revolves the time that Earth's revolution takes care of these two 12 hours. Okay.
Uh,
And if you look at the planet, one of the planet called Jupiter or
mm.
Brihaspati or Guru, it takes 12 years to complete one cycle.
Okay. 12 Earth years.
12 years. 12 years that we are in Earth years. You are right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
12 years cycle period, and which is called as, so we are all aware about the lunar year or
Hmm.
solar year or lunisolar year, like that.
Okay.
Similarly, there is a year calculated based on the movement of Jupiter. It is called as Barhaspatya.
Oh.
So in Hindu calendar system, there are more than seven calendar system,
Hmm.
out of which the solar and lunar calendar is very popular. But there are system available in ancient Indian text about Barhaspatya Manam, which is the solar, like solar year, it is a Jupiter year,
Oh, okay.
which takes 12 year as per our current
Yeah.
calendar, 12 years, and each year consists of 360 days in
Oh,
Jupiter year.
okay. Wow.
So, because it has only 360 days, we are not truly considering it, because normally we do 365 or 366, which
Mm.
is exactly matching with our solar year.
Okay.
So we are more using solar year than this Jupiter. So Jupiter year is 12 years, one cycle.
Mm.
I told about Rashi, I told about calendar, 12 months. Now, similarly, Kumbhabhishekam is done once in 12 years.
Hmm.
Not only Kumbhabhishekam, even Kumbha Mela
Ah, yes.
is also once in 12 years. Of course, there are other side of significance of 12 is where, for example, if somebody is missing in a family,
Hmm.
absconding from a family, and if you are not able to trace that person for 12 years, the Shastra says you can do the ancestor ritual for that person.
Oh, they're
So 12
considered.
years. Yeah, 12 years is a calculation made. If 12 years is a person cannot be traced, so one can do the
Mm.
ancestor rites. So similarly, if somebody who is in coma
Hmm.
or who is in samadhi state for 12 years, so it is said that he is treated as ending his life in
Mm.
this planet Earth. Of course, this life cycle continues, but one can consider if 12 year he is in a samadhi state or a coma state, he
Hmm.
can be considered as he is declining, or he can be treated he is ended his life.
He's
So
he's left the physical body.
yes,
Yes. Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, you are right.
Ah.
So 12 has got so many. I can keep adding to the list.
No, thank you. That's very insightful.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm glad you mentioned Kumbh Mela because
Mm.
a lot of us young Hindus we get Kumbhabhishekam and Kumbh Mela confused. So these are actually very different festivals. So could you kind of explain what the difference is and if there is any connection between the 2?
Yeah, yeah. And if you have noticed, Abhishek,
Hmm.
Kumbhabhisheka,
Yeah,
your word is also there in the part of Kumbhabhisheka.
yeah,
So, Kumbhabhisheka, Kumbha Mela.
right.
So, the name very clearly indicates it has two phrases.
Hmm.
Kumbha Abhisheka, Kumbha Mela, Kumbh Mela.
Hmm.
So, if this has got two phrases, Kumbh Abhisheka, Kumbh Mela.
Hmm.
So we should contemplate on both the phrases. So if you know what is Kumbha, then you know the meaning of Kumbha, application of Kumbh in both.
Okay.
And then here Mela is used, and here it is Abhishek is used.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you know this pada, we call it as a pada or the nomenclature of these two words, then it is easy to understand. And in Hindi it is called as Abhishek, and
Hmm.
Sanskrit they call it as Abhisheka,
Hmm.
and in several Indian languages it is called as Abhishekam.
Okay.
So that is why Kumbhabhishek or Kumbhabhisheka or Kumbhabhishekam it is like. Similarly, Kumbh Mela or Kumbha Mela, it is only there is a language difference. Meaning doesn't differs. Okay,
Okay.
whether I call it as a Kumbha Mela or Kumbh Mela, it remains same. Similarly, Kumbhabhisheka or Kumbhabhishek or
Hmm.
Kumbhabhishekam, no, don't need to differentiate this. So both are same. But let us come to the understanding the phrase.
Uh-huh.
So first, let us talk about Kumbhabhisheka. So Kumbh plus Abhishek or Kumbha plus Abhisheka. So that is the word which we need to look. So Kumbha, if I had to say, Kumbh means the power of holding,
Mm.
or if I say retention, anything you retain, or it's a power of retention, or power to retain, or power to hold,
Hmm.
is the meaning for Kumbha. If I give little more explanation, then you will easily understand. All of us or most of the people are very very familiar about breathing exercise.
Mm.
It's called as pranayama.
Yes.
So what is the process in the pranayama? You first inhale,
Hmm.
hold, and then
Mm.
exhale. So you are breathing in, hold the breath, then breathe out. The holding of breath is called as kumbha.
I see.
The breathe in is called as puraka, holding is called as kumbhaka, and exhale or breathing out is called as rechaka.
Oh,
So puraka, kumbhaka, rechaka.
I see.
So the why here also kumbhaka, because you are holding the life source, holding the prana, holding the breath.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you hold the breath, anything that you hold, anything that you retain, so that power or that process is called as kumbh.
Hmm.
Okay, and normally what happen is if one is able to hold it for a long period, the longest period or elongated period one can hold the breath is called as samadhi state, which is again 12 years.
Ah, yes. Okay.
So that is why you will find sages and saint, they do penance.
Hmm.
They can do penance for 12 years and again come back.
Mm.
So that means they can hold the breath, they can hold the life energy or life source for 12 years. So it is called as kumbha, the
Okay.
status. Okay, so that is the status of samadhi is also called as kumbhaka. Second one is the union with the divine.
Mm.
One can union with divine or with the supreme soul, and that retention of power can be held for 12 years.
Uh-huh.
So I have to add one more word here. We all of us called temple as a alaya or
Okay.
devalaya.
Hmm.
It is similar to kumbha, deva, deva plus alaya, or devatas plus alaya. Deva means all of us know the divine entity or the devas or the murtis or the divine object,
Yeah.
okay, or the manifestation of God is treated as Deva. Alaya means Laya. Here,
Mm.
Laya means one go and unite with the energy, supreme energy. Okay, so this energy is held, the maximum one can hold or retain is 12 years.
Hmm.
That is one of the reason every 12 years Kumbhabhishekam
Right.
is redone,
I see.
reconsecration. So it is called as consecration, reconsecration. To give another easy to understand example, uh, every temple has got a shikara or a gopura or a vimana, is it not?
Yeah, yeah.
On the top of Vimana is the dome like
Hmm.
structure on the top of Sannidhi, and Shikara or Gopura is the tower like structure at the entrance of the temple. At,
I
at,
see.
top, at the top of the Gopura or Vimana, you will find something called as Kalasha. You must have seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
A metallic object, Kalasha. And in this Kalasha, it holds something. What
Um,
does it hold is it also it has a multiple purpose. One is to hold the cosmic energy from the space,
mhm.
from the akasha, and transmit to the inside murti. The
Uh-huh.
holding capacity is 12 years.
Okay.
That is a normal way. The second is it also used as a arrestor, lightning arrestor. The third application for the kalasha, it used to be quite huge.
Hmm.
It holds a lot of grains into it, special grains into it,
Okay.
because it is like a skyline tower or sky high tower. Lot the in those days, the
Hmm.
kingdom, the king used to store lot of food materials, dry food materials like grains into
Okay.
the inside the kalasha. There are certain grains which are saved there, so that in any location that there could be natural disasters,
Hmm.
natural calamities, flood,
Oh, wow.
earthquake, all those things can happen at that time. Because this is atop at a high sky high place, you can go and open up and distribute the grains and people. So it is an emergency food supply also.
Wow, that's amazing.
So like that, there are so many thing which is that because it is holding the grains
Yeah, yeah.
called as kumbha.
I see.
There is an
Okay.
abhishekam is happening on that. So kumbha abhishekam.
Wow.
Coming inside the murti, the deity, and the idol, the statue, the devata, which is
Uh-huh.
holding the cosmic energy and radiating when every time the pujari does the harti,
Yeah.
the divine object or the murti radiates the energy, cosmic energy.
Right.
So that the capacity to hold the energy is 12 years.
I see. Okay.
So every 12 years, a reconsecration is happening. So
Hmm.
that is why it's a kumbha means hold. Now we know the
Okay.
meaning of kumbh. Now coming to Abhishek.
Hmm.
Like Abhishekam is one of the purification ritual,
Okay.
because we have to purify the entire deity, divinity, murti, everything has to be reconsecrated, which is
Hmm.
also a meaning of purification, repurification, reconsecration, like that. So the purification rituals are prescribed in the Agama Shastra, which is followed.
Hmm.
And uh, if you look at the Abhishek, why we do Abhishek, the meaning of Abhishek is to, there are several meaning. One is to spray,
Okay.
another meaning is to sprinkle,
Hmm.
and another word is to scatter. What do we sprinkle? What do you spray? Or what do you scatter? Is the it could be anything. See, when during calamity, the grain will be spread or scattered around for people. Like how
Uh-huh.
in today's technology, food packets are dropped from helicopters so that
Yeah.
people catch. But
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
those days, they go up to the thing, tie all the grains in a pack, and then drop it so people use it.
Oh, wow.
So, which is Abhishek means scattering
Oh, wow.
the material. Similarly, the priest goes to the top of the gopura and he do scattering of uh, water, sacred water from the kalasha.
Uh-huh.
He do so, which is called as also Abhisheka, and the water scatters all around the towers. So,
I
which
see.
is the scattering of ceremonial or sacred waters are being sprinkled around. So,
Okay.
which is also an Abhishek. So, it is another word meaning for Abhishek is a ceremonial showering
Hmm.
of murtis.
Yeah, that's what I'm more familiar with,
Yeah,
actually.
Melier. So ceremonial showering or bathing is
Hmm.
done through a ritualistic process. Is called, or people simply call it as a abhishek.
Okay.
So this is the real true meaning for abhishek. Now you know meaning of kumbh and meaning of abhishek.
Yeah.
Of course, abhishek. Some people call it as tirumanjana or divya abhisheka or prokshana. Prokshana.
Hmm.
Some prokshana, they say.
Okay.
Completely sprinkle it. Prokshana is another word. Abhishek is another word.
Okay.
Okay. Or Purna Abhisheka, they say. Sada
Hmm.
Abhisheka. Purna Abhisheka. Santi Abhisheka. Is it not? These are all
Yeah.
ritualistic process. So Abhisheka is, what is Abhisheka? Now you know. Now that is Kumbhabhisheka.
Okay.
Now let us come to Kumbha Mela because you want to know the difference between
Right.
Kumbha
Right.
and Kumbha Mela. So Mela means Kumbha. We know what is the meaning. Mela means a festival,
Ah.
an event. Okay, a gala event.
Okay.
Okay, so this event or it could be a spiritual event organized once in 12 years.
Oh, okay.
And then uh, I did not mention specifically when I was explaining Kumbha Abhishekam. The Kumbha has some more meaning, which
Okay.
you can relate with Kumbha Mela. So Kumbha means I said no, there are 12 Rashi.
Hmm.
Mesha, Rishabha, Mithuna, Kataka, Simha, Kanya, Tula, Vrishchika, Dhanur, Makara, Kumbha, Meena. The
Ah,
Kumbha.
the 11th one.
The 11th one is
Ah.
Kumbha. So, which is as per the solar calendar, the 12th month, every month, the month is named after a Rashi.
Okay.
So, the 11th month is Kumbha, after which 12th month comes.
I
So,
see.
in lunar calendar, that 11th month is called as Magha.
Hmm.
Magha Masa, they say. In South India, they call it as a Masi. So, Masi, Magam.
Okay.
Magha Purnima. Magha Mela. So, the Kumbha Mela occurs on the Kumbha Masa,
Okay. Okay.
which is the 11th month of the solar calendar year. So,
Okay.
they celebrate once in 12 years in the Kumbha Masa on the Purnima day. So, it is called as Kumbha Mela.
I see. Okay.
And because, as I told you, the Jupiter takes once in 12 years, so it's a new year also for Jupiter.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's interesting. How all the different cosmic energies connect.
Okay, so all our workings are all based on the cosmic
Yeah.
occurrences. Nothing is no what I'll call it as everything has got realistic meaning. So that is
Hmm.
why Kumbh Mela is celebrated once in 12 years, and then of course we should also look at the why in the solar calendar the Kumbh is coming is because there. The Kumbha is every month is calculated as 30 days in each. The sun enters into each Rashi. When the sun
Hmm.
enters into Kumbha, it's a time for celebration,
Okay.
and especially with waters.
Ah, yes.
Especially with waters. So that is why when the sun enters the Kumbha Rashi, and it has a very there is a divine power comes into the water elements, water bodies. So people take dip in waters.
Uh-huh.
That is why during Kumbh Mela, you have a dip in Ganga, dip in Yamuna, okay,
Hmm.
and sacred baths.
Right.
All those water bodies in the world, not only in India, across the world, in the Magha Masa or Kumbha Masa, water get energized, and you
Hmm.
will get a very cosmic energy can be felt if you have a dip in. That is why people go in thousands and millions towards
Yeah.
and Kumbh Mela is always celebrated near water bodies
Okay.
because of the water energy get energized. So of course one more last I should give a reference about Kumbh Mela is
Hmm.
no, there are a lot of legends
Yeah.
to explain about different events and festivals. So Kumbh Mela is also referred. I've been telling different meaning for Kumbh. That is,
Mm-hmm.
you can yourself derive the meaning. You
Mm-hmm.
know, all of us have heard about the what is it called as the Samudra Manthan,
The churning of the
churning,
ocean. Yes.
churning
Yes.
of ocean. Okay, we're
Yeah.
right. Now you have come to understand the meaning. So churning
Yeah.
of ocean is describing a container, a pot, which contains nectar.
Mm-hmm.
What I told, retention,
Okay.
retaining, kumbhaka. Kumbha means there is a kalasha which is holding the nectar, and this nectar is of immortality.
Mm-hmm.
So a kalasha holding a nectar of immortality is called, because anything that holds a kalasha is the people normally call it amrita kalasha.
Uh-huh.
Amrita is the nectar in the content, kalasha is the vessel, but
Mm-hmm.
together it is called as kumbha
I see. Okay.
because it is holding the nectar.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that holds to be called as kumbha.
Right. Okay.
So the Samudra Manthan, because and we do not know how long this nectar is being held. It is only at the request of people wanted to extract the nectar. So Dhanvantari brings the nectar in his
Mm.
lotus palm
Yeah. Yeah.
coming up. So that has been held by this Kalasha for a long time. So it is called as Kumbha.
Mm-hmm.
So Kumbh Mela is also a celebration. Once they extracted the nectar, it's a celebration for them. So
Okay.
some part of the Hindu faith, they celebrate the event of
Right.
extracting the thing. So they call it Amrita Kalasha is coming
Okay.
out. So so this also has some connection to that. I think
Okay.
I have
Wow.
taken a long time for answering
No.
this
No. That.
the
Thank you
question.
very much. That's great.
That is why it is called as Kumbh Mela too.
Yeah. No. That's great that we clarified that because I think a
Yes,
lot of us confused the two festivals. So
yes,
thank
yes.
you. So now let's. You mentioned the Agama Shastras
Correct, correct.
before, right?
Yes.
So what are some of the guidelines, if you can kind of briefly go through it,
Yeah.
for how to conduct the Kumbhabhishekam?
Yeah. Yeah. See, Agama Shastra is the one. See, our Vedic, our text, our religious text is not one text like one Bible, one Quran. No.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we have a library of references, library of text.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is Veda, it's not one Veda, it is four.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take Upanishad, it is not one Upanishad, it is 108 Upanishads. Similarly, if you take Agama, it is not one Agama. It is 28 Agama on the Saiva section itself. Then for Vaishnava Agama, you have Pancharatra and Vaikanasa.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, there are Smarta Agamas. Like that, there are several Agamas. And there are several Upagamas again.
Mm-hmm.
Like how Veda and Upanishads, there are Agamas, Moola Agamas and Upagamas. So
Mm-hmm.
there are more than 200 and odd Upagamas are also there. Then there are Paddhatis, there are Sampradayas, there are traditions. And why this many? Because each one specializes and gives elaborate information on each of our uh, way of life. So the
Mm-hmm.
Agama scripture especially focuses on this Kumbhabhisheka, the temple related rituals, the pujas, or pujas whether it's conducted at home or at temple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it gives you the exact reason, exact procedures, exact methodology, and exact time it has to be conducted, when it
Okay.
has to be conducted, and which location, and how, which are the dravyas to be used, and
Mm-hmm.
how it has to be done. Complete procedures has been given by thing. Especially since you asked about the Kumbhabhisheka related rituals, there are some certain chapters called as Alaya. Alaya means Devalaya. Nirmana Vidhi is there. There are Pratishtapana Vidhi is there. There is Pratishta Vidhi, Jirnodharana Vidhi,
Mm-hmm.
because we use a lot of materials which are subject to wear and tear.
Okay. Yeah.
So it also talks about Jirna means wear and tear.
Mm.
So Jirnodharana Vidhi is there, and like that you have so many other vidhis which we can keep on talking
Uh-huh.
more. As I said, there are hundreds of upagamas to further explain this Agama Shastra. So basically, Agama explains you and guides you the way and procedures to conduct this Kumbhabhishekam.
Okay. And
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken, it also talks about the architecture of the temple, or
Of course, the
yeah.
entire temple, entire premises, the architecture,
Okay.
the design of mantapas, the design of the structure, the size,
Hmm.
and the metal that has to be used, whether it is metal or it is the any other minerals or the earth products like stones and marbles and things like that. Everything it is very precisely told. Not only that, even the kind of music that has to be played in a temple
Hmm.
and what music, what tune, what composed, how you should compose it. Everything has been told, and
Like what raga you have
yeah,
to be?
what
Yeah.
raga, in which puja, which song should be there.
Oh.
Everything is given. It's a full guidance
Oh
for
wow.
complete temple related activities,
Okay.
including community activities.
Hmm.
It talks about how the dwelling units have to be built, how even it even talks about the drainage system in those days. You see, in ancient text talks about that is why you find a lot of caves and other thing. It talks about town planning,
Mm.
how a town has to be constructed, and how town planning it talks. And it talks about the testing of the sand quality. Nowadays when we want to construct a building, the
Uh-huh.
government does the sand test.
Yeah,
So
like excavation or something. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Agama talks about how
Oh,
the
wow,
quality of sand, how much you should dig for the basement, for the concrete to be poured.
wow,
Everything is talks.
wow. That's very detailed.
It talks about even construction technology,
Uh-huh.
building technologies, building bridges across ocean, across river. You know how Hanuman crossed over the
Yeah,
ocean.
yeah, yeah.
Agama Sastra explains how can you build a bridge between ocean.
Okay.
How can you build towers? How can you build palaces? How can you build temple? Everything is narrated. It talks about Vastu Shastra also. There are a lot of elaborate things Agama talks.
Wow.
It's a science actually.
That's actually when you mentioned the
Mm.
Ram Setu that Hanuman built the bridge.
Yeah.
The Vanara
Yes.
army built the bridge. I was wondering, is there any references to either Kumbha Abhishekam or what we just spoke about, the temple guidelines or construction guidelines from Itihasa or Puranas?
Yes. Yeah. Very much. Very much. There
Oh
are
wow.
there are several references.
Okay.
Several references in our way, our legends and Puranas and even Vedic text. I do not know. Everyone must have heard Lord Rama
Hmm.
said to have performed Shiva Puja. He's a devotee of Rama is a devotee of Lord Shiva.
Yeah.
Similarly, Lord Krishna, they all did Shiva Pujas.
Hmm.
Parvati conducted Shiva Puja. How they would have conducted pujas
Oh.
without Murti? You still find the proof of, like, you take Rameshwaram.
Hmm.
Rameshwaram is the place where there is a Shiva Linga for which Lord Rama has said to did puja.
Oh wow.
So obviously they would have had murtis.
Mm.
Okay, if not, we do not know whether they built temple also, but they had a murtis.
I see.
They had a, and how did they got murti? That is also mentioned in the legends, and there are several sages and saints,
Hmm.
including asuras and devas. They have also performed Shiva pujas. And how did they do Shiva pujas? They have created deities not by sculpting, not by carving,
Mm.
not by cutting stones, but with the power of energy. They know the power to create. They
Hmm.
had the they had the power to create murtis, just like that. Okay, but in today's technology, we may be looking at it like a magic.
Right.
But actually, today we have a murti in a physical form. But
Mm.
in Purana stage, it is like a linga form.
I see.
Like you must have heard about Salagrama linga,
Hmm.
Spatika linga, Bhana lingas, like that. You know, by severe meditation, they just create a murti.
Okay.
And every Purana says when they do puja every day, they make a fresh murtis.
Mm.
Fresh murtis. They don't sculpt and think. They just think just like that and they create a murti.
Okay.
Okay, so devas and asuras and manifestation of supreme god, they all created murtis and they did puja. So when they did puja, obviously they know the technology of making murtis.
I see. Okay.
Okay, so obviously there is a reference, and however, as I said, this is exclusively dealt by Agama Shastra, and you must have also heard from the Puranas. You know
Mm.
what did they do with these murtis? You know, they never destroyed the murtis
Hmm.
because they did murtis every day. Morning when they want to do Shiva Puja, they created a Salagrama Linga. And they
Uh-huh.
just meditate and concentrate. Here is the Murti, comes into their
Wow.
hands. And all these Murtis are not destroyed. They all let it into rivers, sacred rivers.
Okay.
Because of this Murti, all those rivers are still now very sacred. And you know where do they get the Salagrama Lingas and the Bhana Lingas? Where do they get?
I.
It's all from the river bed.
Oh.
It is not sculpted. They go to, there are several rivers,
Hmm.
okay, in the Himalayan range. If you see a lot of, whether it is Ganges or
Hmm.
Yamuna or Kentucky rivers, so if you go to that river and if you walk into the river to few distances, you can you can take out Salagrama Lingas.
Oh wow. Okay.
And there are a lot of devas and saints and sages have taken this thing with the divine power. They say no one need to make any new murtis, especially lingas, Shiva lingas.
Hmm.
That is why in every temple you find they don't sculpt the Shiva linga. The
Okay.
bottom portion is carved, but the linga portion is never carved. It is all called as Swayambhu Murti.
Uh huh.
Swayambhu means created on its own, created by you. You have like Deva Linga,
Hmm.
Rahasya Linga, Spatika Linga, Bhana Linga, and you have Asura Linga. They are
Hmm.
all. It is named after the rishis who have gone. Rama Linga,
I see.
okay, Rishi Lingas, Agastya Lingas. So every Rishi, Ravana Lingas are also like that. There are a lot of Linga which are even Hanuman has made
Hmm.
Linga, Shiva Linga.
Okay.
Even though he was told like a manifestation of Rudra, even
Hmm.
Hanuman did Shiva Linga.
I see.
So what I'm trying to say is this: there was a technology available even in those Itihasa and Purana stage. There is a mention about creation of these murtis. They have done it.
Oh wow.
So the Agama has further expanded the thing. Of course, nowadays we have because of the transfer of knowledge and technology to us. Now there are shilpis who are able to make
Hmm.
in different form of
I see.
deities.
Oh, so but back in those days, it was more
Yes,
the transfer of like cosmic energy in a
yes,
sense.
yes.
That's how they're able to do it.
Even in our temple, if you come to Shivalinga, you will find the Banalinga.
Yeah.
It was not such thing. Those things can never be hand carved.
Oh wow. Okay.
And that is why this Banalinga is not everywhere. You don't find it in the same shape, same size, same
Yeah.
dimensions. Each Banalinga will have different dimension.
Uh huh. Okay.
You
That's
are not
very
supposed to
interesting.
carve it. So you are supposed to, by God's grace, you will get it.
Oh wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So so thank you for that answer. So can you give any examples of certain upgrades that you've made to the temple that are in accordance with the Agama Shastras?
Yes, yeah, yeah. See,
Yeah.
like I said, the every 12 years we have to carry out the reconsecration. There are different reasons for reconsecration.
Right.
As I told in the beginning, there are chances of natural wear and tear.
Uh-huh.
Okay, anything can get disturbed, get moved, get damaged.
Mm-hmm.
There could be cracks. There could be some due to various natural reasons. Yes, the structure can get disturbed. So that is one of the reason that when you do a re-energizing or reconsecration, we are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to take care of several corrections or upgrades
Uh-huh.
or do modifications, because there are certain things you may not be able to bring back to the same shape or position, so you may obviously have to do some modifications and repairs and maintenance. So those are all carried out, and several renovation works have been carried out in our temple, especially like we have done several renovation, including the beautification of the parivara sannadhis,
Mm-hmm.
and replacement of kalashas in the gopuras and vimanas, and upgradation of the Dvajastamba, and we also have a new installation of Chandikeswara, like that. And we are also, see, when we do the renovation, we should also think about how do we ensure the longevity of the life, shelf life of certain structures or things like that. So we have to do some protective activities also. So
Uh-huh.
what we do is we do a Swarna Bandhana, Rajata Bandhana over the Ashta Bandhana, which is
Okay.
also we are doing, so that the longevity can be extended from 12 years to 100 years.
Mm.
See, like every 12 years you have to do, but there are certain things which you can elongate the the holding of
I
the
see.
energy for even for 100 years.
Okay.
So several renovation work we carried out in this time.
Okay. So, like we mentioned earlier, this is the fifth Kumbhabhishekam that's
Yes.
happening at the temple.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the arrangements that you're doing for this particular Kumbhabhishekam?
Yeah. See, since you said it is every 12 years we are doing it, this is the fifth. The first criteria to conduct is we should
Mm.
do it every 12 years
Right.
by default. That is number one. And number two is when you do it, you should do it in Uttarayana Punyakala. Like I talked to you about 12 significance of 12. A year is divided into two. Like
Uh-huh.
every day is divided into two, like AM and PM. A
Right.
year is also divided into Uttarayana and Dakshinayana.
I see.
So normally it is in, you have to do it in Uttarayana Punyakala, and there are certain months in the Dakshinayana Punyakala also it is said. So we are first calculated that criteria, and then fix the date for doing it. And
Mm.
you will find all the five natural elements, Panchabhuta, no? Prithvi,
Uh-huh.
Appu, Teju, Vayu, Akasham,
Mm.
is also involved uh,
Uh-huh.
in doing this ritual. So you will find the earth element related rituals like Mritsarang Grahana, Ankurarpana, that is this plowing the sand, and then digging the sand, and then
I
making
see.
the Mrityu or sand related rituals are being done. Vastu Shanti is also the earth related. Okay. So similarly, we also do the water related element related rituals, like
Mm.
all the kalashas are filled with water. We do kalakarshana, we do the kalasha puja, and
Mm.
we do everyday morning vishesha sandhi involving water aspect. We do punyaha vachana using water element, and we do the abhishekam using water element.
Uh-huh.
All these are, so one is prithvi, then is up means which is water.
I
We
see.
also use agni element in this.
Mm-hmm.
So agni element is like we do homa, havan, a fire worship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to do a lot of offerings into fire god. Okay, so similarly we show harti, we show deepa. All those things are all agni related element is
Mm-hmm.
involved. Similarly, vayu element, though we have to ring the bell, the sound that it creates,
Ah.
the verbal chanting of veda mantras, and then the sounding through the shell conch,
Right.
shanku, we do
Mm-hmm.
it. So like that, there are then playing musical instrument. So all the sound related element which is related to Vayu. So
Okay.
Prithvi, Appu, Teju, Vayu, and Akash also.
Mm-hmm.
The space aspect, which is like we do the Sanidhyam. Now we invoke the divinity into the vigrahas.
Uh-huh.
The invocation from the space, from the universe into the deity, infusion of the energy into the deity is
Mhm.
a space related thing. Similarly, we call it as avahana,
Uh-huh.
then stapana, then pratishtapana. You must have heard, no? All these words are
Yeah,
used.
yeah.
So, or finally we say samprokshana. So all these things are related to Kumbhabhishekam, and it is done like that.
Okay, wow. So, I mean, so I think you actually went through a lot of the
Yes,
pujas and rituals. So, what I was gonna ask is there a reason you picked this particular time of the year? Was there an auspicious reason for it? Because I
yes,
think Ganesh Chaturthi is right around the same time. Was there a
exactly.
reason for that, or?
Okay, see, as I said, anything of this nature we have to do with considering the auspicious time,
Hmm.
auspicious day, the muhurta time, auspicious day, and auspicious uh, occasion. It
Uh-huh.
should be chosen. So last 2 years we have been going through a tough time, because of the pandemic
Right.
world over. So it doesn't ended this year also, no. It was,
Hmm.
even though it looks like ended, so we still into, not completely eradicated.
Right.
So considering all these natural occurrences, and we decided to choose Ganesh Chaturthi,
Uh-huh.
which is annual utsav happens in the temple, and chose an auspicious day within the period of festival period of Ganesh Chaturthi. And then, no, fortunately, with the grace of the Lord, we are able to narrow down to an auspicious day, which is 7th of September,
Uh-huh.
uh, 2022. So we were able to uh, narrow down a date and found a muhurtam time, and then on that day it's going to happen.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you found a way to work around the challenges that we're facing. So,
Yes.
yeah. So, I
Thank you.
mean, thank you very much for your time. I know you're very busy, so I
Yes.
really appreciate that you took the time to have this interview. Is there anything else you'd like to share about the temple? If people want to come during the Kumbhabhishekam?
Yeah, it is very, very auspicious event. Like how you asked about the Kumbh Mela,
Yeah.
and what is the kind of impact that you will have by physically present into the near in the water bodies, by physically taking a dip into the
Mhm.
Ganges. So in the same way, if one can attend in person the Kumbhabhishekam
Mhm.
and be blessed by the samprokshana, the sprinkling, I said, the
Yeah.
Abhishekam means the sprinkling of and scattering of sacred water
Yeah.
all over, and everyone will be getting the sacred tirtham also, the sacred water also. So it is an opportunity, nothing like be in present
Hmm.
during the event. And of course, this, as I said, this event doesn't occur every month or every year. It
Right.
occurs only once in 12 years. Sometime it is a lifetime.
Hmm.
Okay, so I request everyone, every living entity in this planet Earth, this part of the planet, to
Hmm.
make use of this opportunity and use this occasion to come and get blessed for their fruitful and blessed life for the rest of their life period.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Um, so, namaste, and we'll end the
Thank
talk
you.
over here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste. We hope you enjoyed this Chitti Media content. Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.